Hello, everyone. We're here in Switzerland enjoying the lovely weather, and apparently we brought the weather with us, and the just incredibly beautiful landscapes that well, Switzerland is famous for. And we're also enjoying the company of an old friend, well, 1 year old. I guess
Yeah,
we met a year ago, and he's
exactly.
not that old compared to me, especially. But anyways, Nate Ericson was raised as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, but at the age of 20, came to understand
Mhm.
the true nature of the organization and wisely left. And we're not going to talk about his story this time. We'd like to hear it at some future point. But we were walking the other day up one of the mountains. They got me to really exercise. And we came to a cliff, which is a whole nother story you'll hear about in one of the videos coming up. But in that discussion, I asked Nate what he thought about the question that's raised all the time. If you're going to leave the organization, what about the preaching work? You know, the door-to-door work, preaching the good news in all the inhabited earth. How do we do that? Do we go door to door still? And because Nate did not leave Jehovah nor Jesus, quite the opposite, he became a stronger believer than ever before. So anyways, he came up with a very interesting answer. So I'm going to hand it over to Nate now to tell me how he feels we can continue to preach the
Mhm.
good news of the kingdom
Yes.
effectively.
Well, thanks first of all for having me. And so yes, we're as you said, we've been speaking about this in the beautiful scenery outside in the nature, and it's always also very inspiring to talk about these things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll try to make it as precise as I can be with as short answers as possible, because there's a lot to say.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to my own experience and of life within the witnesses, and when it comes down to preaching and talking about spiritual matters to others, well, as a witness, I always found it tough, a
Mm-hmm.
tough, complicated matter, something that is not necessarily inside us. You know, we have to make the
Right.
effort to go towards someone,
Yes.
and the door-to-door business was not a natural thing for me
No.
or for many people, I
For
guess,
the
especially
majority of
today.
us, yeah.
Yes. And well, as I gradually went out of the witnesses, first and foremost for me was understanding myself
Mm-hmm.
better, because in understanding myself better, then I would be able to understand others also. And I did a lot of self research,
Mm-hmm.
if I could say it this way. And I started to learn about my personality type, which is something that I've gradually with time got to learn a lot about, because maybe it might be interesting for some people there who might relate. There have been research as known as the MBTI,
Mm-hmm.
with the 16 different personality types, and mine being INFJ, which is which comes down to a lot of my personality is based a lot on emotions,
Uh-huh.
and feeling your emotions and understanding them. And I've always been an observant type of person.
Mm-hmm.
I don't talk much. I observe, look around, and I understand just by looking at people or listening to. I listen quite a lot, and that is my way to understand the world and what
Right.
surrounds me. And so once I gradually got to know myself better, I started opening up to people in my network,
Mm-hmm.
whether colleagues, friends, much more than when I was a witness.
Uh-huh.
Being a witness, you come to people that you most often don't know, and it was hard for me to start a conversation. Not that I didn't have problems with my beliefs back then, but it felt intrusive
Right.
quite often.
Yes.
And when talking with my friends and, like I said, colleagues and people I would meet, first I would establish a trust, a link of trust, and then see with a little snippets of information here and there if they would pick up on some things that would maybe open up a conversation. And I figured that it was much more genuine in these relationships I would have with those people in our conversations, and I would really freely talk about my beliefs and spirituality, and they would be very receptive quite often, and curious, and even sometimes jealous. Especially those who never grew up in a religious background. Just recently, as of 2 weeks ago, with a colleague of mine who we recently became friends, close friends too, and I stayed at his place for a week, and we were able to have random conversations, but always kind of leading at some point towards biblical matters. And I never really tend to first getting to the Bible. I don't consider myself as a Bible technician, but I know its stories. I know its the meaning of scriptures, and I will try to understand what the other person has gone through in his life, and find something that I can adapt from the scriptures to their life, and see if maybe they can grab interest in the truth,
right?
In that way.
So essentially, you're establishing a relationship of trust because
Yes.
they know you and they know your personality and they feel your sincerity as a person. So when you speak now, it's not just intrusive or like a salesman knocking at the door.
Exactly, exactly. And I work as a salesman, so I know what it is too to kind of put your step into the door,
Yes.
and try to sell a product. And witnesses is kind of the same thing with not selling, but trying to sell or share an information or a tract or an awake.
I've known witnesses who also put their foot in the door.
Yes, for sure. But it never really felt natural to me, and this connection now that I have with the friends that I talk to it's even more stronger. We really create a bond where I know that they trust me, and I also benefit from it because I see how much what I say can touch them, and what I say comes from all these years of learning about God and Jesus. And that's very enriching, and that is my way of preaching today. I don't believe there is a remedy really, or one way to do things. Every person is different. We're all individuals,
Right.
and something might work with someone, and it might be different with another person. I know that. Going through what I had to go through in my life, we all go through trials and difficulties, but it's important also to learn from them and see how you can help others maybe after that who might have gone through similar things. And that's something that really helps me too.
Right. Excellent. So the way when we used to preach from door to door, looking back, I think we can establish that was an incredibly ineffective way. It wasn't that people didn't learn about the Bible from the door-to-door preaching. And I'm not talking about all the truth, because we know that they were really learning the doctrines of Jehovah's Witnesses, but making recruits of Jehovah's Witnesses in the door-to-door work wasn't that effective. The number of hours per baptized person is ridiculous, the proportion. And I look back on my life when I was a full-blown witness, preaching door to door. I can't think of a single person in all those years that I brought to the point of baptism because I found them in the door-to-door work. And yet, between my wife and myself, we were able to count 40 different people that we helped become Jehovah's Witnesses, but we always found them through contacts, through friends, through referrals. So now that we have the true good news, and our understanding of the good news is accurate, no longer what we were taught, the best way to do it is, as you've said, I really think this is how we make disciples, as Jesus told us to do.
Yes, and I'll add a point also about something that I find very interesting is that when I talk about my my beliefs in spirituality, I am not trying to gain them, gain others on my side. I want to gain them to God and to Jesus. And coming back once again to that colleague I was recently with, I actually gave him a challenge to he has a hard time to believe there is a higher power out there. And I said, well, okay, I mean, that's totally fine and understandable. But here's a challenge for you. And while we were talking, he didn't notice, but I was taking notes about things that he has interests in life, his work, his passions, his hobbies. And I gave him the paper and I was like, here, those are keywords that I had from our conversation. How about you, every day for 2 weeks, you just try and make a prayer to God or whomever you think might be out there. If you don't believe, just imagine there's someone and just talk to him. And after 2 weeks, tell me your experiences. And it hasn't been the end yet of these 2 weeks, but he told me that he already had some interesting events. And he's keeping them secret for now, so he's teasing me. But there is definitely something, and in a good way, that is happening right now for him. So this is also something that is awesome. And what I wanted to add was that today I see a lot of people I feel around my age also that are starting to awaken to a higher power, or that there is something out there.
Right.
And I found out that through my research or listening to podcasts or watching videos that many people are kind of taking a stand towards a belief in Christ as our Savior and King. And of course there are a lot of different various religions, even within Christianity, that might differ in some ways. But what is really interesting to me is that they go towards Christ in the end. And this, we know that people from various backgrounds will be saved in the end. And I hope to bring people towards Christ and not towards a religion.
Right.
Because this is what is really makes your faith, I think, stronger. Religions have most often triangular systems that lead towards men at the top,
Right.
who say they will lead you to God, but it is hard to find a religion that will truly have their best interest for you at the bottom, for the sheep, you know.
Right.
And there's a passage, if I may, in that I like in the Bible. It's a little out of context. The context of this verse is really nice too, but what I like, it's in Mark chapter 9, verse, let me see, 39, where Jesus says, "For no one who does a miracle in my name can in the next moment say anything bad about me." And that is something that I find really powerful, because those who claim Jesus in the end will most likely, I hope so, be saved and find salvation in His name.
Mhm.
And that's what I strive to do, really. I just want to, plant the seed, and God waters
Right.
the seed for
Right.
it to blossom and
Mhm.
hopefully turn into a plant.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that's what I keep in mind and strive to do the best way I can.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Nate.
Thank you.
I look forward to more conversations with you in the future.
For sure.
Yes.
With pleasure.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I hope that was beneficial to all those of you who are thinking of or have left the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses or any other religion where you felt confined by the restrictions and rules of men, but still believe in Jesus Christ, Jehovah, our Father, and want to preach the good news. And this is how you do it.